Welcome to The Next Stage, a podcast that brings together the professionals who support seniors and their families through life's major transitions. Hosted by Isaac Tolwin from the Krieger Wealth Management team at RBC Dominion Securities. From home care and downsizing to estate planning and legacy protection, we highlight the people making aging easier. And now, your host, Isaac.
All opinions and views expressed by the speakers are not representative of views and opinions of RBC Dominion Securities, Inc. All information and opinions provided in this video are in good faith, but without legal responsibility.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a panel with AMJ Movers, Dynamic Downsizers, and 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Well, number one, it's absolutely overwhelming for our clients and their families.
That's one of the top 3 stressful events in a person's life next to death and divorce. Moving is number 2. So you don't need to add any more to that already stressful situation that you're dealing with.
Somebody that isn't actually junk, right?
For us, if a client hires us, we do all the logistics.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we have a panel with AMJ Movers, Dynamic Downsizers, and 1-800-GOT-JUNK. And we're going to be talking about a new partnership they're launching, as well as what the ideal client experience can look like for a downsizer in Toronto. Leanne, welcome. So can you please tell us, how you got into the world of downsizing and helping seniors?
Yes, absolutely. So I'm actually from out west, so my parents still live out there. And when I came here, later in life, after having kids and getting married, I thought, I want to start my own business. I had a friend of mine that actually reached out to me and thought that we would be great organizers because I have a design background, that we could maybe do some organizational stuff. So we started this company, and within 6 months, we soon realized that the calls that we were getting were seniors that were moving out of the homes that they've lived in for 40 plus years, and they required assistance in order to move on. So that would be decluttering, packing, moving, and setting them up in their new place. So we quickly switched our company to Dynamic Downsizers. And from there, we just hit the ground running, letting a lot of, getting the word out there that this is what we do and this is how we can help.
So I guess you would say that you saw the need and that kind of inspired you to focus on the niche.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was most shocked about was how many seniors actually didn't have anyone helping them. Perhaps their family lives in a different city, or perhaps they had no family at all. So it was a bit shocking. And so, we were sort of their daughters coming in, taking over and assisting with this project for them.
So where would you say your point of contact starts with someone who's considering downsizing, and where does it end? And you may pass it on to another professional.
Exactly. Okay. So for us, we have different business partners that may reach out to us on behalf of the client. But we also have clients come to us directly, wanting to know what are their options, where to live, what will suit them. If they're moving into different areas, perhaps they're moving closer to families. So, what are their needs and where can they live? And so at that point, we come in, they can either call us, email us through our Squarespace submission form, and we go out and do an initial consultation and just understand the scope of work, understand if family's involved. And for us, if a client hires us, we do all the logistics. So we will basically pack, book the movers, and completely set the client up by the end of the moving day in their new suite. And then when we're asked to declutter a home, we bring in 1-800-GOT-JUNK to also then declutter the home. Assist with the decluttering.
That's incredible. And I'm sure that there are, specific considerations when you're moving for someone who might be elderly. Danny, you come into the process after someone's already decided to downsize and now they need to move. Tell us a little bit about AMJ and why it's important to use a reputable mover.
Absolutely. So AMJ, we are the largest mover in Canada. We've been around for about 89 years. We have 35 offices coast to coast. To answer your first question, why is it important to use a reputable mover? In my 30 years, I've heard every story you can imagine, getting calls on moving day saying, oh, my mover's not showing up. Can you help me? Or my goods are being held ransom. Can you guys do anything? That's the number one reason to use a reputable mover. You don't need added stress. When you're moving, that's one of the top 3 stressful events in a person's life next to death and divorce. Moving is number 2, believe it or not. So you don't need to add any more to that already stressful situation that you're dealing with. When you hire a reputable mover, such as AMJ, we are going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to show up when we say we're going to show up, and there's nothing left to chance. All our people that we employ, from our frontline staff to our operations and the salespeople as well, everyone's had a police check background done on them. So you're dealing with quality people. Typically in our industry, you'd hear stories, again, more so from the independent movers. All these guys showed up and, they started asking for more money because there were steps involved in the move. We call those rogue movers, people who are in business. They get a bunch of complaints lodged against them, and then they'll shut doors down and reopen under a different name a few months later. One way to make sure you're dealing with a reputable mover is to check through the Canadian Association of Movers. They're an independent governing body that oversees the moving industry, and they have a list of reputable movers, and they'll tell you who the good ones and who the bad ones are.
Interesting. So important to know. Tyler, welcome.
Thank you.
Let's talk a little bit about junk.
Yeah. So I am Tyler Cornell. I'm the director of local commercial sales in Toronto. I've been with the company for 9 years. 1-800 Got Junk is the biggest junk removal company in the world. We operate from Australia, North America. We've got about 150 different franchises all across the world. We are the premier junk removal company out there. I think with 1-800 Got Junk, I think it's in our name, right? What we do, right? We junk remove. But more importantly, what I truly believe 1-800 Got Junk is a customer service facing company. Anybody and their brother can go into a house and do junk removal. It's the added value that we add there, right? Where does that junk go? Does it go to a landfill? Does it go to a recycling? We work with a lot of different companies that will take junk. We work with schools. So if we're junking one school, we then bring it to another school. We help new Canadians coming in furnish their entire house. So it's what we do beyond just the junk removal, right? It's not just 2 guys going in and going to your garage and you pointing what you want us to remove and us removing it. It's the steps that come in after. How do we show face when we walk into your house? What are the people like that come in? Because Got Junk it's a sensitive business, right? You're getting rid of things a lot of the times that you don't want to. There could be a scenario where it's a hoarding situation. People are moving, people are downsizing, and we fit in really anywhere. I bet you anyone on this panel can sit down and go into their garage and open their garage and say, well, look at that. I could call 1-800 Got Junk, right? It is what our specialty is, right? We fit in everywhere, but fitting in everywhere is how do we then get better than everyone, and how can we improve our business? And it's customer facing forward. It's making sure that we take all those steps to really separate ourselves from the other mom and pop shops that we like to call junk removal business. Got Junk has been around for 30 years. Brian Scudamore started this in a pickup truck in Vancouver. Invested in a truck, drove from Vancouver all the way down to Toronto in that truck with a full load, fully loaded in there. Not sure why he did that, but and then we've started in Toronto for the last 30 years. We help roughly around 10,000 people every single year declutter their house, help them get more space back in their lives. And the stories and stuff that we find would honestly probably shock a lot of people, but it's an adventure. And I came in this business, I've worked everywhere from medical sales, tech sales, you name it. I looked at this and said, how can I connect back to the local community? And there's nothing like that, like 1-800 Got Junk. I'm dealing with local businesses every day. May it be Best Buy or may it be John's Electronics Store. We help everybody and everybody in between. And it's rewarding seeing what we can do. And as of the last couple of years, we've also really focused on our green initiative. What does that look like? We're one of the biggest providers of junk, right? We dump the most
Providers of junk.
We actually are the ones who probably go to the dump the most, right? Us and contractors, right? So how do we get away from that? So again, we started partnering with other companies across to minimize that and have a much big greener thumb. So the business is, I always like to say this to people, is 1-800-GOT-JUNK is this massive international company, but everyone works like a small business. And that's a feel and touch that we want our clients to feel like, is that you can call Tyler, who's the director of sales. You can call John, who's one of my reps. You're going to get the same customer service from me as you will from someone else.
Is there any like typical client that you would deal with?
Yeah, we work two sides, right? We work on the commercial and then the residential side, right? So I would say a lot of the times is a moving aspect, right? When people are moving out, people are downsizing. It is a big portion of that, hoarding situations. And then commercials, unfortunately in the city, there is a lot of companies that are doing a lot of flips. Shutting down, unfortunately, it is the reality of the market that we're currently in. And it's us helping mitigating that, getting them out of there and getting the stuff either to another home or getting it out of there entirely.
Yeah, Leanne, I'm curious your take. What does the downsizing journey look like from your perspective?
Well, number one, it's absolutely overwhelming for our clients and their families. It doesn't just affect the client, the senior, it affects their children. Their children typically are, working in order to live in Toronto and or have families and are very busy. And so when a client is downsizing, it involves the whole family if they have the time, or if they can hire the right people, like a downsizer, to come in and facilitate all the logistics for them, just to make it easier for them, peace of mind, stress-free.
And if there is stress, like I know I moved recently and I was nervous things would break.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure like what would happen in the truck. It was a big move from New York all the way to Toronto. I had my brother actually driving the truck, so it wasn't, the safest environment for my bookcases or whatever else I had.
The people on the road?
The people on the road. There you go. But Danny, I'm curious, is there any insurance in place or something that can help people get like a kind of a peace of mind?
Yeah, absolutely. When you hire a moving company, there's basically two options when it comes to purchasing. We don't call it insurance in our industry, we call it valuation. So option number one is what's called the released valuation, meaning you don't buy additional coverage. Every mover by law is liable for what's called the released rate, 60 cents a pound per item. So I'll give you an example. If a client is moving, they decided not to purchase additional coverage with the moving company, and there's a table that got damaged during the moving process. That table weighed 100 pounds. They would be reimbursed $60 for that table.
Not a lot.
Not a lot at all. Most tables are worth a lot more than $60. On the other option, if you purchase what's called full replacement valuation, you will pay a premium to have it insured for the move. Typically, a 3-4 bedroom home, you're going to pay about $200-300 worth of insurance coverage. Same scenario, if that table got damaged during the move and you've purchased the insurance coverage with the moving company is going to either repair that item if it's repairable to its original condition. If that's not possible, then they're going to replace that table for you at what the market value of that item is today.
I'm curious on the junk side. So I guess these things are not worth a lot inherently.
Yeah.
But to someone who's downsizing, they may have held on to something 20, 30 years. And I'm curious, you're launching a new partnership, right? The three of you come together to kind of offer an experience that's more seamless. How did this come together, and how does it add value to your clients?
Yeah, well, you say like I think with junk, when it comes to our business, right? Like you say, 20, 30 years, that to somebody that isn't actually junk, right? How we really came together here. And I'm going to speak bluntly. Leanne came to us with an amazing opportunity, an amazing spokesperson for her business. And she wanted to reach out, and we were able to get connected. We've worked together many times before, and the business is just working out. The same with Danny and ourselves. There is a synergy between us. And Leanne came forward with this proposal, and we were just laughing before coming on here about how just excited we were about this partnership because it made sense, right? I think when you're in a partnership like this, the more it makes sense for our clients, the better it is. And Leanne really took the ball with this, connected all of us together, and then we met, and then it just became not only just as three companies thinking separately about how we can help each other, to really one brain together thinking about how we can help the client. And when you're talking about something like junk, downsizing, and moving, the synergy goes not only just for us, but for a client, right? It's not like we're stepping on each other's toes for the business, but we're also supporting each other. A lot of the times we run into situations in homes where there is a family matter. God junk may not be the right customer, or should I say company, to deal with that. That's why we call Leanne, and who maybe has that more delicate touch to be able to handle that client facing. Maybe there's a $10,000 table boardroom table that we've taken out of that room that another client we want to donate it to. Then that's where we call Danny, right? Who are the professional movers. My guys are the hammer. I always say this, my truck team members are the hammer, right? And we run a 15 cubic yard box truck. That's all metal, no moving blankets, right? So it's more so of stuff we know is going to a secondary home who will value that. Danny is maybe home to home, someone who wants something moved or help donate it. And then Leanne is there as well to get the ball rolling and get it started for us. And it really is something I can speak really plainly. This was Leanne's brainchild, and I'm honored to be part of that. And for her to let us join into this as a big company, and now we have 3 big companies, it's an exciting time. It makes my job a lot more fun. So I can say, I will say with my hand up, this was Leanne's great idea.
Okay, so Leanne, I guess the next question is for you. What does the client journey look like?
Okay, so with Move Partners, because that's what this relationship is all about, it's movepartners.ca. And so if clients reach out, whether it's the senior client, whether it's just a baby boomer that is thinking about moving house to house, but they need a little bit of extra help making decision on what to declutter. So this is kind of before you point, you got to figure out what you want to keep and cherish moving forward. And so at the end of the day, the process is that we have an intake person that is going to answer the phone call or respond via email. And we will have one person go out for all 3 teams, and they will evaluate the situation, understand the scope of work. Usually a downsizer will be in first, helping you choose what's moving forward, and also helping decide where the other stuff goes, because not everything is junk, right?
Yep.
So just like Tyler said, there are donation centers that offer tax receipts for clients, and it goes on to help other people that truly need their furniture. And then, when we're finished getting everything ready for the client, and Danny comes in there with his team and basically does the move for us. And then at the end, Tyler comes in and basically closes the job out, sweeps it all up. It's emptied at that point, and the job is done for the client.
So in an ideal situation, if someone would have a downsizer, then a moving company, then a junk company. But I'm sure there are situations where someone maybe, they'll call Danny first for the move, and Danny will realize, well, maybe we should bring in someone to downsize here.
Yeah.
Danny, what does that look like for you? Like, is there any specific things you will look for and say, well, maybe we should be passing this on to Leanne?
Absolutely. The first thing is when we initially meet our initial appointment with a client, that's sort of the assessment stage. And especially when you're dealing with elderly people, it can be very overwhelming for them, especially as you mentioned earlier, Leanne, if they don't have family in town or don't have family at all and they're on their own. It's very intimidating. I'm going to give you an example. Honest to God, I had a client move this week on Monday. Her move was scheduled. Our crews arrived at 8:30 as we normally do, and she was not packed up. And I'm sure you've heard this a million times. Our guys got there. So now we have movers ready to put things on the truck, and she's still kind of going through things and packing boxes. So what ended up happening, we continued to load the truck while she was packing just to utilize the guys because they were there. And she said, no, I'm going to finish packing. You guys start loading. So as we're loading the truck, when movers are loading a moving truck, it's a big game of Tetris. Like they're trying to use every space, every inch of that truck. It's floor to ceiling, side to side. That was hard to do because we didn't have boxes to fill in empty spots. So number one, we ran out of space. So we had to send a secondary truck. We had to send in a packing team probably mid to late afternoon because at that point she just said, I can't do this anymore. And needless to say, our crews were out a lot longer than they should have been. So it kind of broke the rhythm of the move, and it didn't make it as smooth as it should have been. You know, movers, they have personal lives too. They have kids to attend to in the evening. So it's not fair for us to ask them to stay working till 7, 8 o'clock at night. So there's a perfect example when our client takes on or doesn't realize the scope of the move.
That's what it is.
And again, she was adamant that her and her husband were going to do this all themselves. And we usually call, our move managers will call a client a couple days before just to do a final check-in. How's everything going? Are you ready to go? Yes, everything's fine. Again, denial. And then when we show up on Monday, as I said, they're nowhere near ready to have the move process be underway. So that's a perfect example of where people got to realize, you know, I've got to be realistic about this. I can't do this. I don't have the energy, the time, the stamina anymore to do this. I did maybe 20 years ago, but not today.
Yeah, I mean, that client, I'm assuming they ended up paying, you know, more for their move.
And they are getting about $3,000 more at the end of the day. And that could have been done at the beginning, and it would have, you know, we would have had a team of packers in there, or Leanne could have been in there in advance to help this client sort through things, and she would have paid the exact same thing.
Yeah, like a smoother and cheaper.
Exactly.
And I think that's the difference is when you are doing, say, a house to house or a downsize, if you can't physically do it yourself, and there are pieces that you have to consider, and there are, you know, if you're downsizing, you're maybe going from 4 closets to now 1 closet. So if you need help facilitating that, that's where I come in. If clients are feeling overwhelmed or clients are on a budget, they really need to take a look at, okay, what can we afford? And maybe our family, or we can come back to the property after we've moved and set up and do the purge, because that should be easy then, because you have everything that you want and cherish moving forward. So yeah, and absolutely, when we work with Janny, when they walk in the door, all the bins and boxes are all piled, all ready for them to go. So these guys, our team just guides them on what's moving forward and what's staying behind for the declutter, and they just go. So it's a really smooth, easy transition for the clients and way less stress.
No surprises.
No surprises. Plus, it's boxed correctly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I walked into a client's home the other day, as sweet as can be, and she was boxing stuff in shoe boxes.
Yeah.
I don't have to go without saying that you can't carry a whole bunch of shoe boxes to a big truck. So, you know, I kind of, you know, took a glance and made a note that, okay, we'll be back and we'll be putting those shoe boxes in a bigger bin. Right.
Yeah,
So, you know, it's understanding what they need so this process runs smoothly. And it's also for the client that they don't have to worry about all the logistics involved. You call us Move Partners, there is one person that's going to handle all those logistics, all of it. It's smooth.
Yeah, that's real value, and we're trying to, incorporate that model, you know, in our own business to try and, you know, create something that's more cohesive,
right?
Something that's, you know, added value, not just, you know, thinking about, you know, exactly our point, like what are we good at, but really incorporating, you know, everything that the client can need to try and create like a seamless experience. Tyler,
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have any stories or feedback that you've received.
Yeah, I'll give you a personal one, right? My mother is someone who deals with mental health issues. You know, calling someone like Leanne who has that finer touch, as I mentioned before, as we are the hammer, it's not necessarily, it doesn't go hand in hand there. Having someone like Leanne who can go in their front and help someone like my mother determine what's going, right? Where can we get rid of stuff? Where can we bring stuff? And where can we find a secondary home? It makes the process a lot easier. It's like having a white glove before another white glove service comes in, and the clients feel it. I know for myself, having that particular situation would be having hard conversations with my mom as her son. Leanne can come in as an outside partner and really have those conversations with people. And that's what we really stand for, is customer service, right? And when we look into that, or Danny needs to jump in and move something to maybe the retirement home, and we're the bow at the end of it to get rid of everything, I think that's why Move Partners is the way that it is. And that's why, you know, I truly believe in this, and that's why we're really determined to see this work for our community.
Danny, I wanted to ask you, because all of you are involved in bigger companies with brand recognition. Let's say there's, you know, small realtors, retirement homes, or other professionals in the space that want to kind of get involved with what you're doing? Is there anything you would tell them in any way that they can get involved?
Absolutely. They can always reach out to us, and we're more than glad to meet their clients and have a consultation, even if nothing comes out of it. I love giving them information that they or their clients can utilize to their best benefit for them. Not everybody has the budget to do things, but I can always steer them in what direction to go. I can tell them who the good people in the industry are, who the bad ones are, who to watch out for. But yeah, it all starts with a call and a consultation with Leanne, and Leanne sort of is, let's call it the quarterback, and say, okay, well, this is what we do. This is kind of, the scope of the job. This is the budget we're looking at. I actually had a call this week from Lori in your office, Leanne, saying that, hey, we met with this wonderful client. We're moving her mom, but it's not in the budget now, but we still would like to do the move. Can you put us in touch with Danny directly? So there's, as I said, sometimes it's not the whole package. It could be one or two parts of the package that they utilize.
And I think for all of us we understand that, right?
Yeah.
I think that journey for us is we all three as this named company, I think we all understand that, right? And the harmony that we have to work with each other is strong in that, right? Leanne setting the tone right when she gets through the door, Danny coming in and helping with precision. And then again, we come in at the end and add the bow. And I think having three big brands that know that each other's service not only represents their brand well, but as this company that we've put together, this partnership, it means more, right? Our clients see that and feel that, like they're going to get that. If Danny comes in and blows it out of the water and move, and Leanne packs and they feel comfortable, well, Junk's going to come in and make sure that everything is out of that house safely. And I think that's a strength of having three companies that are very customer oriented, locally driven businesses like ourselves. I think that's a strength, and it gives our clients a little peace of mind that not only you're not just picking anyone, right?
And for all your companies, you all have like specific areas that you're good at. And I think it's very important for like every partnership, right? I do, public equity, strategic management, right? But we help our clients with will and estate planning, things like that. And we always want to make sure that we have partners that have that expertise. So, we're not PSW workers, right? We're not movers, but you want to be able to create those relationships where you can help clients, find that expert.
Yeah, and you want the trusted partners. That's the thing that it really is. I think the most important thing is that if you're going to pass on a client to somebody else, you want to make sure that the job is done and done correctly and done with friendly people. That if something does go wrong, because people in any business, things can happen sometimes, things can get broken, that we are companies that are going to step in and fix it. We're not companies that are new in this business and are going to just basically not answer your phone call anymore. So,
yes. So, Leanne, your passion and all the passion here is obvious. The synergy is great. I'm curious, as a final question, like where do you see, the future of this partnership going? And if someone's overwhelmed, like what's a good place to start?
Yeah, I think we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think that the potential for us to grow this type of partnership across Canada is exponential. This is why I chose companies that already are across Canada.
I think the first time I met Leanne, you know people's passion, right? And when we had these initial conversations with Leanne, you could see the passion was not only just there, but the idea made sense. I think when you look at it like that, the idea being there with our quarterback, as Danny says, being passionate about it, it makes the two other companies, AMJ, myself, a lot easier to jump on board and say, okay, what does that look like? We've got the referrals, we've got the contacts, we've got the businesses, right? It's now, how does that work together? And Leanne spearheading that, coming together. It's something at Junk we've always wanted to do, right? We want to work with people. We are in a business of people helping people, businesses helping businesses. And I think we never had the light bulb until Leanne shown that us to her. She flipped a switch, said, there's an opportunity here, right? And I think, as I mentioned before, it's three companies that are big name brand companies, but never step on each other's toes. The amount of times me and Danny have probably been in a site where it's, here's a move in junk removal, right? It's nice now that anytime someone calls me and says, well, I actually don't need junk removal, I need to move it, I have a trusted partner, and I can call Danny up, say, Danny, go see Joe. He's got the stuff. And if someone needs packing, well, it's great that I can call Leanne and have that. You say, where is this? What are we looking for in the future? I think we have such a good rolling start of where the business is. I think it's endless to what we can really do, because again, it's such a need for people out there. And I have full support in this partnership that I think let's go into the moon, as they say.
So, Danny, before we go, how should someone reach out if they want to get a hold and engage in the partnership?
So they can reach out to movepartners.ca, and they'll be put in touch with dynamic downsizers right away, and Leanne's going to start the process. And the one thing I love about that is that when we get the information from Leanne, it is so detailed. We've got pictures of everything that is in a client's home that is moving, and it just makes our job as a moving company a lot easier, because I know what we're getting is 100% factual. There's nothing left to chance, and it just makes for a very smooth transition for the client from start to finish.
And clients that are downsizing, one of the most important things too is that they don't really understand the space that they're going to and what can fit. And that's where we come in and certainly help out with what can fit moving forward. And then when we're in the space doing the intake, what we do is we basically categorize it. So, what is going to furniture donation? What is going to a 1-bedroom suite, which is typically what clients do. And so, yes, when we pass on information, it's very detailed and down to the details of what type of client are we working with. Perhaps we're working with a client that has early cognitive issues. Perhaps there's mobility issues, mental health issues. So when we go out to do the scope of work, we are fully understanding what the situation is. We understand from the family, are they involved? Are they not involved? We specialize in working with seniors with dementia. Our team is trained by the Alzheimer's Society of Canada, and we will continue to take all their courses to ensure that we bring that value when we step in the door with a client with dementia or any type of mobility or cognitive issues.
Well, thank you all for joining me. It's been a pleasure to learn about this partnership, and thank you all for watching.
Thank you for listening to the Next Stage podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to follow the show and share it with someone who may benefit. For resources and ways to connect with trusted professionals, check out the show notes below.